Hey, hello.
Hey, Max, I'm just gonna.
Mhm.
Was uploaded onto YouTube today for Marie to do her little magic with now from
Ooh,
all of our
yeah, 11?
location places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
And
It's
I
a
still have two
lot.
more to do, but I know. Well, I got them all uploaded today, but I've been working on them for a little bit over a week. So that was awesome. So she'll be getting hold of you guys to get them onto the website and everything, but it's all the location videos. It's our welcome to our website again, just a lot of stuff. And then I got two leads on two more houses that she doesn't even know about that I've done my research on and got a call. And so it's very good. So it's
Nice.
coming along.
Now, is this kind of like some elbow grease kind of work for those leads? Did they come from online? Did they come
No, it
from
was a
networking? Where
referral. It was a
referral?
referral, but he has seen what we've done, what I've done, what we're doing. We actually wholesale the house. Marie and I wholesale the house to him,
Hmm.
and he already knows, in that realm what we're doing, and he knows, the referral fees we pay and stuff. So I saw him on Saturday. He gave me these addresses and said, "Go for it. Let me know how it goes." And turns out, and get back to me. So it's
Awesome.
good. So it's working.
Perfect. Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Who we got
So
here?
thank
So we'll go to Mr. Sal. How's it going, Sal?
Hey everybody, how you doing? We're still new to this whole process. It doesn't seem like it, although we're in it 2 months. We're still new at it. Our website's up and running. We are monitoring what's going on. We are working on the back end with HubSpot, updating all our contacts and tagging them appropriately so that we can do some marketing. We just pulled all our contacts out and started building a text messaging program once a month to vendors just to kind of remind them that we're still here. So that seems to be working out well, but we want to see how they start approaching our website and see if they start hitting that. So that's our next step.
Awesome, awesome. Well, good on that. Again, someone like yourself, today's conversation about the Google My Business kind of page, how important it is, if it's up, if it's not, what can you be doing with it? Pay attention today. That's going to kind of help kind of move the needle a little bit on your end as well. And then we have Kim. How's it going, Kim?
Hi, Roger. Hi, everybody.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Let's see, wins for the week. We are closing on a rehab that we've completed this week. So that's good. I just opened up my email when I walked in the door, and contractor filled out one of the forms on our website. So that's good too. Let's see, what else?
Awesome.
We have a creative finance deal that we are under contract on as well. We contracted that last Friday, so things are rolling.
Wait, you left out one of the most important parts. I think you're on a show of some sort, right?
You
Yes,
are so
and
fair.
and the real estate view is doing awesome. I hope you guys caught last week's episode. It was very funny.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, that needs to be in here every week. Everybody needs to be watching that. I've been obviously when I after I pop in there, I saw the bloopers. You just got to get in there and get them out of the way. Eventually, it
Yeah,
gets comfortable. I
we
hated
went
doing
for
video myself when I first started, and I couldn't do these meetings here. And I was like, just sometime software too is always a challenge. I think that was the biggest
Oh
thing.
yeah,
I think
that was the
for
biggest
you
challenge
guys,
because we had never done it
the
before on
software,
our own. Yeah.
right?
So
Awesome. Well, that's good. So with that, I'm gonna segue into your Hollywood partner over here with the show that you guys are doing. Go to Mickey. How's it going, Mickey?
I'm doing well. It was so funny that day. So funny. We had fun and it was interesting. We're doing great. We're having leads, not the one that I want. I'm still dreaming of my avatar filling my forms from the website and reaching out. But we're having a lot of wholesalers and realtors contacting us and filling us with like pocket listing and all that, which are still good. A deal is a deal. I won't say no. And so but I think the most interesting thing for me is literally they'll say, I saw I saw your video, and so I know you're super active in your market. So I guess, that credibility is established and it works. So we're happy.
Setting up that authority, that's huge, because right now you're hitting that not exactly the avatar, right? The seller, the distressed person that's trying to sell their house, which most of you, I'm looking around here, most of you guys are real estate investors. That right now you're creating awareness. That's what Mickey's kind of describing here with their website. She's creating a ton of awareness, both with the website and her YouTube channel. So that eventually, not that the leads sometimes actually don't even come from somebody that finds you on Google, right? Of the distressed, it's going to come from that person, that realtor that found you on Google, that probably reached out, that's going to recommend you, right? So that's basically where you're at right now. So that's exciting. Obviously, there's many, many things you've seen kind of our process that we can be doing. So today, just talking about GMB, but I think it's probably time for us to try to jump on another call at some point, Mickey, with your team, and start looking at kind of honing things in, because you guys have a lot of content now out there, and try to kind of bring it all together. But with that said, I do want to say one win that I have. I'll keep going, but I had a win with Mickey here around the real estate. Talk about authority and talk about networking. My family and I are moving from Guam to Maryland. So it's really exciting, but real stressful. So we've been in the process of looking for a house. So we actually reached out to Mickey and her team, and Isa, which is their business partner. And Isa is the realtor, found us a house. We bought it, but yet there's special circumstances when it comes to coming to the table, signing. So we were all stressed out because we don't have anybody in Maryland. we're from my wife's from St. Louis. I'm from Arizona, and we have contacts in California, right? My brother's in California. Nobody in the East Coast. So with our networking, right? How important your network and who you're connected with, we were able to talk to Mickey and work something out. And Mickey ended up being our signing for our house. So now we finally closed on our house. But talk about your network, right? Talk about how powerful and how important it is. We closed on it middle of the night, or no, early in the morning for us, Mickey and her evening, and we're sitting there, my wife and I, trying to wake up, and we signed. So I just wanted to put out that thank you so much, Mickey. Now we have a home we can kind of go to when we get back to Maryland here in August. So we'll be there. So
We're
awesome.
excited to have you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited. I think it's going to be huge being down there. But yeah, we'll keep moving right here. I think we have here, we'll go with Eric. How's it going, Eric?
Right here in Charleston.
Awesome, man. What you got any wins going on over there in Charleston?
Got our social media kicking off and going through some growing pains with you guys, trying to get that kind of defined and up and running.
Gotcha. So you're kicking off with, you're actually utilizing us for your social media. Probably, yeah. If there's anything there that's not making sense, maybe because that's always kind of the biggest challenge that I'm seeing with social media, just putting out the message that represents your business, right? So I'll check if there's any type of things right there that growing pains that are just not going your direction. I'll go ahead and connect with, it sells usually on this call, but she had another meeting to go to, but I'll connect with her. We really want to hone that in for you. And
we've been in contact with her.
Okay.
From day one.
Awesome. Got it. Perfect. So I'll just kind of see if there's anything else that we can be doing better, just to kind of clear things up. If there's anything that you need additional from that. Okay. All
Roger,
right,
who clocked
guys.
you in the eye?
What's that?
Who clocked you in the eye?
I got like a sty or something. I've been rubbing because I'm on my computer all the time. I've been rubbing my eye a lot, and it just started swelling up on me yesterday.
Sure, we'll go with
I'm
that. Okay, sure.
Yeah, my
Just
wife
one.
got mad at me, and
You didn't make her the sandwich, so you deserved it.
yeah, exactly. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and kick this off for today's kind of topic, see what we can add more value to you guys, and start filling in the blanks in some areas that you might not have set up for your business. So what we're going to be talking about today is the GMB, the Google My Business Profile. So just real quick, I can actually see everybody on here. I have everybody on my screen. Raise your hand if you already have a Google My Business profile set up. Even if you haven't filled it out, I just want to know if you've actually set one up. So, all right, so I got you guys. And then we got Tony shaking your head. So it sounds like you haven't started that, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about, I'm gonna get into detail right here. So you can kind of see what that is. So the Google My Business profile, we'll see some examples. I'll share my screen in a bit. It's basically the most powerful, what we call directory or citation that you can have on the internet besides your website. In some cases, the Google My Business actually becomes more important depending on your market. So if you're in a smaller market and you're a local business, some of you guys do business in multiple states, right? So that might not be as strong. It's still important, but it's not as strong. If you're a very localized business that's literally doing business in one area and then a couple cities around it, then the Google My Business becomes extremely important on how you optimize it or whatnot. So with that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we're going to run through a couple things that you guys, number one, need to set up. And number two, if you need to check on your current Google My Business, see if it's set up correctly. All right. So here I got just a Google search here. Move it here in the middle of my screen. So the first thing is I want to kind of show what a Google My Business is, where you find it on the search results, just for those of you that are kind of newer and want to know what the heck I'm talking about. All right, so top results consulting, as I start typing it, we're right here. Gonna click that. And when people actually search for top results, they not only get the results here for our company, right? Our Facebook page and so on and so forth, all our different pages for our brand. That means we're winning our brand search. So that's very important and something that we actually take care of for you as much as we can, right? If there's other things that we can be doing, obviously we look at it once you're a couple months into the program. But what you want to do is when someone types in your business name into Google, you want your website to be ranking #1. You want to own, that's called a brand search, right? That's very, very important. That just doesn't happen though. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to, one, add your business name in the content, right? That's why in your home pages, if you read through your home pages, we mention your company name multiple times. So Google, there's zero question of what your business name is. Also, if you have an LLC or something on your business, we try to use variations of your business. Some of you guys might have, my company name LLC or something like that. We use both, just the company name, and then we add the LLC. We try to mix it in. So that way it doesn't matter what people type in, it's going to pop up. This becomes extremely important when you have a popular name that maybe another company might have, right? And what you want to do is make sure that you try to dominate all versions of the name here on the search. So with that said, you also are trying to get what we have here. On the right-hand side, you'll get this is the Google My Business profile, right? This one right here is basically people are going to search you, and then they're going to find kind of like a directory, kind of like a page there with some information about your business, which becomes extremely important with people that are trying to see the authority kind of person for a certain service or product. So you definitely want to kind of set that up. Now, how do you set this up? Someone like Tony right now, he's shaking his head. I don't have that. I haven't set that up. Where do I go? Where do I start? Let's do that really quick. In case you haven't set it up yet, let me just show you that, and then we'll come back to how to optimize it a little further. So real easy, Tony. All you have to do is google.com/business. Okay, so go /business. You're going to come to this page here. This is going to allow you to start the process of setting up your Google My Business. Little tip here, I would recommend that you are logged into your business email. That way your business email is connected to this Google My Business profile, okay? Example that I see sometimes a mistake that people set this up and it's connected to, for example, like my personal email is rajval125@gmail, right? My like just free email, not my business one. If I create a Google My Business connected to that, then I always have to be logged into that one when I want to access my profile to my Google My Business, okay? So that gets confusing. So I would recommend that you make sure that you're logged into your business email when you're going through this process. That way everything's associated together. Okay. So I'll go ahead and go back to the search.
That
Now,
that actually
go ahead.
happened to me. And now I don't know how to fix it.
Oh, let's see here. Sophia, that you, Sophia. Sorry, I just brought up.
Yeah.
So that happened to you, Sophia? Okay, so
Yes.
that we're gonna have to kind of dive in because it's changed a little bit how you kind of make a lot of these changes. They're getting very, very strict with Google My Business. There's too much spam profiles out there. So
Mhm.
I want to make sure that we don't make a change that flags you. That's why I kind of say don't do anything yet. What we want to do is probably look at this together, because sometimes when you try to change that, it looks at it as someone trying to do something manipulative, right? And it will flag you, and your Google My Business account goes down. So I would rather leave it how it is just after we look at it, and just as long as you're aware how you're going to access it, right? So that's probably going to be the better option right now. Right now, they're taking almost every excuse they can to get rid of profiles. Anytime there's something suspicious, they take them down. Okay. So that's why I'm like, don't do anything major yet. Let us take a look. All right. So once you set up your profile, you're going to have to go through a process called verification, the verification process. So once you set it up, for example, we'll use Tony as an example, because I'm sure he's going to be doing this as soon as this meeting is over. Right, Tony? So yeah, so you're going to bounce in there, Tony. You're going to set up your profile. And then once you have all the information filled out, I'm actually going to give you guys the most important. I think, Sophia, you're telling me a little bit, started getting kind of a little nervous because of all the information that they're asking for. So let's talk about a little bit about that, because you'll probably deal with that. Tony, you're going to definitely deal with that. But when you fill it out, there's 3 very, very important things that need to be on this Google My Business, if possible, right? Because there's one out of those 3 that most people won't have or don't want on there. So we call it, it's an acronym called NAP, N-A-P, NAP. And it's an SEO acronym that is one of the most important parts that we look at, because that's going to help us syndicate, kind of like amplify your brand online with other efforts, other directories, other things. The NAP stands for N is your business name. Okay, so your business name. Your business name needs to be consistent throughout the internet. What I mean by that, once you decide and you set up Google My Business, you're going to put in, Tony, business name, LLC. If you added the LLC, next time you create a directory, for example, or a citation, let's just say your Facebook business page, something simple that everybody also should have, right? You are going to use business name, LLC, exactly how you wrote it on your Google My Business. Does that make sense? So consistency, because then there's going to be many, many more, yellowpages.com, manta.com, all these other directories that are out there that are very important to amplify your brand online. You have to keep consistency. Why? Is because there's other companies that might have a similar name to you, and Google is a robot. It's a dumb robot. All right. So you got to tell it what you want it to do or look for. So if it has, on your Google My Business, it says business name, and then on your Facebook, it says what you add the LLC, and then you have all these variations, then Google starts getting very confused. We have a question. Mickey, go ahead.
So I think, Roger, that I created, because I was looking for our business, I think I created 2 profiles. One is I Can Developer LLC, and the other one is I Can Developers. What do I do?
Yes. So we are going to, in some cases, it's very hard. And I say very hard because in the last year, basically in the last year, we know what happened last year, but they've gotten very strict. I would rather leave basically one there, don't even do anything, and focus on the other one, right? We can even go through, once you got momentum on the one you're going to choose, right? So Mickey, you got to go in, look at both, be aware, right? What email you use to set each one up. And then even more importantly, have you had any action on one or the other? Meaning, have you gotten any reviews on one? Or, you got to kind of look at which one is gaining traction. And then at the end of the day, you got to make a decision on which one's going to be the one I want to go with. And then that's the one we're going to start building out and linking, probably put a link on your website to it, right? But the other one, once we 100% know we're not going to use it, then we'll go and basically try to delete it, get rid of it. But here right now, we got to make sure which one is the one that's actually gaining traction.
Okay, so eventually I'll have to delete one.
One of them. Yeah, because right now what's happening, Mickey, you got two and you're the same company, right? So Google's even more confused than just using a different version of your business name, right? It's literally dealing with two company Google My Businesses. So right now it's more, you're not going to get too much benefit from the setup. What we want to do is first, as a business, make a decision on which one we're going to go with, and then we'll start cleaning up that process. Because right now, yeah, that's another mistake I see as well. When you create multiple, we had another client that had reviews on both of them. They had two of them, and they eventually had to, unfortunately, let one go through the process of getting it deleted, and just roll with the one that they really wanted to move forward with, which was the one that actually had the full business name. So that they did what you did, Mickey. They did something like business name LLC. The other one just had the business name, and they ended up just picking one and moving forward with it. So just with that, the N, right? The name, that's huge. That's huge. So you got to make sure that you stay consistent once you make that, because the Google My Business is the one that gets scanned first to actually for Google. It's a Google product. We call it a Google asset. So that's the one that's going to get scanned all the time, and then compare. It's going to take that profile and compare it to everything else on the internet. And that's why whatever you use as a name for your business on the Google My Business, make sure you're using it consistently on other websites that mention you there. Now, the next one is probably the one I get a lot of pushback, and it's okay for good reason, right? It's the A stands for address. So address. So once again, we're looking at our group here. A lot of real estate investors, you guys do business from your house. So you might not want your address on your Google My Business. I'm just going to be here. We're going to actually run a test here, or not a test, but a search. So let's see here. Yes, and then we're going to do something like we buy houses, Los Angeles, just to get some kind of action here with the Google Maps. So for those of you that now are kind of more familiar, all right, I get what the Google My Business is. I get where I set it up, and you're starting to tell me a little bit about what's important I should be filling out on there. But where the heck does it start? Where does it appear on the Google search results? Well, right here. For Tony, I don't know if you know this, but it seemed like you were kind of looking at some things. I know you have a question there. We'll go to your question next, but this is where you find it. You do a search, a keyword search. Here's the ads, right? This is where people pay to rank. And then a lot of times on these searches, you'll find this map. This is where the Google My Business has the most influence, right? This is where you can also rank if you have your Google My Business optimized correctly. And then for us, the SEOs, we actually play in here. The organic listings start underneath the map, okay? So before I kind of get into this section here, Tony, what is your question?
I was going to say my domain name doesn't have the LLC, but I believe I refer to it as Ajoy Properties and Ajoy Properties LLC, and I can't remember what I have. I'm going to look at my Facebook thing and check to see what I have there. So.
Got it. So that's, don't worry about that. I'm glad you brought that up, Tony, because a lot of times we think our domain is kind of the deciding factor. It is not, because Google understands that right now it's really hard to get a business name in as your domain, right? Because they're all taken. When it comes down to they're all taken. So you have to get a variation. So where it becomes more important, Tony, is basically when you set up your Google My Business, don't worry about what you used for Facebook or any of the other ones. I want you to make a decision on what you're going to move forward with, and then you can go back to those platforms and make the edits there. Or in some cases, it might be easier. It's like, what's the version that you used on the other platforms? If it's all consistent over there, then use that version on your Google My Business, so that way you don't have to do anything in regards to editing your other platforms. So I'll leave that up to you. As long as it's consistent, it will not impact if your domain is actually the version that you're not using as consistency. Google's going to pick that up. What I want is to make sure the profile, Google My Business profile, is consistent with all other profiles on the internet. your website, we control that consistency by adding it to the content. So that's why you don't have to worry about it. In the content, we actually control how we're going to call your business name. Okay. All right. All right, guys. So here in this result here, so now we went over it, paid ads here. You got the Google My Business profiles. This is where you get to play. And then you have the organics down here, right? So the next item that I want to go to is phone number, right? So in the NAP, which I said there was 3 major things, you have the N stands for name, the A stands for address. So actually, I'm sorry, I didn't finish the whole conversation with the address. We kind of moved on. Let me finish that one right there. Address is very important because if you decide not to put your address on your Google My Business profile, see these little pins right here? You do not get a pin on the map. It's okay. In some cases, it's fine, right? As you can see, there's a lot of Google My Business. Not everybody's going to share their address, but not everybody shows up on the map. Now, in some markets, lower competition markets, many of you guys' competition are not including their address. So this should not be a deterrent for you not to create a Google My Business, because the profile does give you an option to hide your address. The only reason they would need a physical address is to verify it, because one of the steps is once you fill out your Google My Business profile, they'll say, hey, we need to verify that you're a human, right? That you're a real business. Well, at that point, they'll mail you a postcard with the code that then you'll use that code to verify the Google My Business. And they need a physical address to send it to, and it cannot be a PO box. It needs to be some kind of physical address. They do not, because you got to think about it. If they allowed PO boxes, then a PO box location would have a ton of businesses in it, right? So they want to make sure this is more for local businesses, right? Now, if you don't have an address, you don't want to use it, you definitely still want to create a Google My Business, and where kind of start asking where you do business. Try to keep it within maybe like a 50-mile radius of where you mentioned, like your main, for example, Los Angeles. Then you can do East Los Angeles or Beverly Hills, Culver City, things like that. That is fine because it's all in one area. So not that you don't get a pin, but Google at least understands that you're in the general area. So if your competition's doing nothing, then they'll go to the next best thing. And in most cases, you'll end up on that next best thing, right? And you'll get good rankings because nobody's adding an address. Nobody's really doing anything, okay? So that's basically what the address, kind of how it affects. If you have an address, you have a better opportunity to rank higher here, right? But if you don't, it's okay. You still have an opportunity. So still create it because it's a very powerful profile. And then the final piece of the 3 of the NAP is P, stands for phone number, right? So your phone number, I don't know how many times I've kind of gone and checked, and I thought it was an obvious one, but I shouldn't think that way because we've done that mistake as well with our company, where we have multiple different phone numbers on different platforms. Website says something, our Google My Business says something else, and then even like our Facebook says something else. And this is how it can get out of hand, is because you guys, a lot of you guys are doing different marketing pieces. So you're probably getting multiple phone numbers to track certain conversions, right? In certain platforms. So unfortunately, that is good for kind of when you're doing lead generation, things like that, but it's really horrible for SEO because then Google, once again, you're not staying consistent. So it's confused. Is this an old number? Is this a new number? It doesn't know how to position you. So if someone's doing it right, they will outrank you. So here is where I start kind of looking at making sure that you check your Google My Business phone number, whatever you used on Google My Business, then go to Facebook, then go to Manta, then go to Yellow Pages, then go to all these other platforms that you might have had a profile. Make sure that your phone number is consistent. That way Google knows that this is the same business, okay? And that you have your updated information. So that's why the phone number also becomes very important. Now, let's say that you guys knocked it out of the park. You set up your Google My Business, you set up the NAP, right? You have your name, your address, your phone number. Even if you don't have an address, right? You at least did it right. You pretty much, you put your locations like I kind of guided you. So you have everything correct. What else do I need to be looking at? So this is one for those of you that have an existing one that might have been like, I'm good. I have everything correct. This is the next thing. This is kind of more advanced. Your category right here. So right now I did a keyword search for We Buy Houses Los Angeles. And then I went here and I looked at the top. Oh, let me go back because I don't know if you guys saw me do that. All right, I went here and I saw the map pack for my keyword, right? This is the map pack and it shows me the top 3, but I want to see more. Who else is ranking here? There's kind of like any other result. So I hit view all right here. Boom. So it gives me a list of everybody in my market using that keyword on their website or the Google My Business that I have to compete with, right? So it gives me, once again, they do have ads right here. You have the little tag of ads. Don't worry about that. I want you to go to the ones that don't have ads. And right next to here, right underneath the name, there is a dot and then a category. So when you set up your Google My Business, it's going to ask for a category. It needs to know what type of business you are. This is a big one for real estate investors, especially because you have options and it gets confusing and you don't know what to pick. So the best thing to do is go and do a keyword research that's related to your business. In this case, We Buy Houses is an obvious, great keyword to do this test with. You do that, then look at your competition, make a list, and start seeing what the most common category is that your competition is using. Because every market is different. I've seen that. But as you can see right here, the one that's ranking #1 has a category of real estate consultant, right? What do you have here? Real estate consultant. Again, I can see that it's doing real estate consultant, real estate consultant, real estate consultant. Look at this, real estate agency. But yet, and we'll keep going, real estate consultant, real estate consultant, real estate agency, real estate developer, real estate consultant, real estate developer, real estate consultant. This is consultant as well. So we just went off of the first page because there's more, but we're going to go off of this is kind of a comparison of page 1 of Google. This is page 1 of the results. Well, guess what category I'm going to use? Or if I was in this market, what category would I use? Go ahead, John. What category would you use? And then you can also ask your question.
I would do real estate consultant.
Boom. Obvious, right? Now, what is your question, John?
Yeah, I was going to see on the address, would a UPS store work where it's not PO box and it's an actual business?
I've seen, now this is a gray area. I've been able to get, or not me, but we've tried it with clients. Some clients have been able to get their Google My Business address set up with the UPS store, and it went through. The only reason it went through is because Google didn't catch it. They don't want that, but it didn't catch. So if you wanted to try it, you can definitely try that. But just know if you get rejected, it's because basically they followed the algorithm caught you, in other words, right? So that's basically how you can get around it. But in more cases than none, you're not going to be able to get that. They want an actual physical address. If I needed to give you guys a tip on this, we're doing it. Top Results is doing it. We're not located in Reno, Nevada, right? But we went out, we researched, because that's where we have our LLC, and we found a company that actually has a business, and they basically charge us a certain amount of money to then have an address in a business, suite number, right? And we're not there, but it looks like a building shows up when you guys look it up and everything. That might be something that you want to look into. Might cost you maybe, $100 a month or whatever they're charging, right? But if you're paying $100 a month and it's going to put you in front of more eyeballs, right? More avatars that are, more consistent with what you want, then it might be worth it. So I'll kind of leave it at that because there's so many directions you can take it. But UPS stores, great question. Not usually don't work. Might want to try it. Sometimes it does. All right. All right. So we kind of knocked out the category. That's a one that I would check. I consistently see real estate developer. Mickey, you might automatically think in your head, hey, I'm a real estate developer, so I'm going to pick that category, right? For my Google My Business. It's even in your business name, right? So what you want to look at is not your business. You want to look at your competition. That's how you make decisions on that category. Because this right here will easily, like the agency, where is it at? Real estate developers and real estate agency. That's Google's looking at these type of keywords. They should be ranking somewhere else. And that's why you see this other one, consultant, more consistent towards the top. And that's why we start finding out what in our market is actually dominating, what category. Okay, so categories are huge. All right, so some easy ones here that most of you probably don't have and you should probably kind of look into just filling it out. Sophia, you might be one that falls into this category when you're going through this profile and you're kind of a little confused on what you should fill out and what you shouldn't. Hopefully some of these helped, but there's one that you get to that everybody skips. That is the hours of operation. So Google is huge because if you think about it, this particular profile is supposed to be for a local business that potentially has a brick and mortar, right? A front, a door front. So they want to know if you have a door front, you have hours. And if you're not putting your hours in, you're confusing the user. So if your competition does the same thing as you, but they add hours, they're going to put them on top of your rankings. Okay. So one of the things that you can do for hours, just pick some. When I have somebody on our dominator level or accelerator level that we're doing a lot of this stuff for, we just do, if it's real estate investing, which we deal a lot with, we just go 8 to 8, right? 8 p.m. to 8, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And just so people know that we're open and that's fine. It's usually around what your schedule is, but fill out the hours. It makes you more relevant to being a local business. Okay. And then we have your website link. Go through, if you already set up your Google My Business, this is one that I want to point out because you might think it's super simple, but look at these profiles. We'll start here. This one has a business, but does not have, and it's even ranking -- 1. But when I don't see directions, that means they didn't add an address, right? So they only have a website. This one has a website and directions, which means they added an address. So what you want to do, we're going to click here on SoCal Real Estate because they got both. We're going to see the profile here, right? So where is their website? Here we go. So the website button is here at the top. You guys probably can't see it because I'm hovering over it, but in the profile, you're able to enter your website address. And what the mistake that I keep seeing, and it's not that it's going to affect this button. This button will still take them to the website. But what you want to do is actually when you're filling that out, Top Results Consulting, you don't want to just type it out. I don't want you guys typing out the URL. I want you guys going to your website, highlighting what's there, copying that and pasting it into that area. The reason I say that, look at when I double click, because you guys, your URL should always have the full technical URL, which represents the https://topresultsconsulting.com. That's what we want on there. That way there's zero chances that link will look broken or anything like that. So this is how you can get the most consistency. Once again, we're trying to be as consistent as possible. So when you fill that out, you want to kind of put your link, go to your website, highlight whatever's in the address bar, and that's what you're going to enter in that area. Okay. I keep seeing something like just the name, or even worse, I keep seeing people putting it in because they're so used to using them without the S. That's becoming a ranking factor because this S represents that your website has this little lock on it, means that you have a secure website. With us, you automatically get that. So if you're typing it in and you're forgetting that S, you're taking a little bit of power and relevancy off of your brand. And Google, it's a Google product, so it's kind of seeing all that. Okay, so this is the safest way to enter your website link. And when we go back here, this is great because we're kind of seeing some pictures of the team. That was my next item. Upload a logo, right? And some action pictures of your team, your office, projects. I was actually just talking to Sophia before we got started. She was the first one on there. I asked her about her projects. They've done one project. Who cares? Doesn't matter. If you took pictures, put it in there, right? Put them in there of examples of what you guys have done. You guys that are more seasoned, that have more projects, you should actually be more consistent. Like Liz, you guys have stuff happening all the time, right? So that might be something that that can be part of your consistency, that you keep adding those type of images on the website. I don't think there is a limit. Google wants to know that what you have going on. So if you're adding those things on here, it makes you more powerful. Okay. So now we're getting to the bottom part of, and towards the end of the items that you should be seeing as far as optimizing your Google My Business. But this last item that I have on my list only becomes extremely powerful when you've done everything that we just talked about. And when you've done everything we talked about here on this call and you do this last item, this will just put pretty much, fuel on the fire, right? So this last one is reviews. So you mentioned, you guys probably looked at it like, when is he going to talk about reviews? That's one of the, that's why the Google My Business profile is there. But the problem is, if you start getting reviews and you haven't really optimized your site, or your Google My Business, a couple things are going to happen. I'm actually going to stop. Oh, I'll leave it here because you guys can see an example. If you don't add reviews, you won't be able to get this bright 5-star little icon here, which when you look at these, what stops your eye? This is all about conversions, right? Stopping people that are here. Well, that's number one. Number two, it's a big factor because it gives you relevance to your market and how active you are, how much you're involved with your clients, things like that. So Google sees this as a ranking factor as well. So the more reviews you get, the better, right? But let's just say you start asking for reviews tomorrow. Someone like Tony, he goes out, he creates his Google My Business, he gets verified by next week, and he hasn't really uploaded everything else, right? He just didn't have time, but he starts kind of sending some things to get reviewed. Well, Tony, you might actually get someone to kind of review it, but they might want to do some research on your Google My Business. And if they see nothing, and it's someone that maybe hasn't done a deal with you, but was thinking about doing a deal, you just gave them some advice, because those are good people to give you reviews as well. They might be turned off by it, right? So you might want to optimize it before you start asking for reviews. Meaning, when I say optimize, meaning just filling it all out, right? Filling it all out. So that's one, why these reviews, why filling everything out first and then doing reviews is important. But the more reviews, one thing that we saw a trend in 2021 is that reviews are now affecting the rankings of the Google My Business. Before, it was more optimization, reviews weren't really affecting it too much. Now we're seeing a big trend towards more reviews. The reason for that is because Google is getting rid of a lot of those spam profiles. So now starting to kind of deal with more real profiles. So now the reviews become extremely important, right? So now it's real reviews. Now, a couple tips on the reviews. Just getting reviews sometimes isn't good enough. So what can you do to even get better reviews than your competition is getting a keyword in the review. So if you have an opportunity to coach the person that's going to give you a review, then do this. All you have to look at is your services. Once again, a lot of real estate investors here. So maybe you help somebody through a foreclosure. Maybe you didn't even buy the house, nothing. They just called you and you gave them advice, right? And they're like, man, that was awesome. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate taking time. I know we're not even doing a deal together, but your knowledge was valuable. Well, you can actually ask them for a review and just tell them, hey, if you can do me a favor, just mention what I helped you with, right? I helped you, just kind of give you some valuable information about foreclosures. If they add that foreclosure in there, maybe divorce, maybe, tired landlords, something like that, then you start getting keyword specific reviews of your services. That becomes extremely important, because then Google starts correlating your Google My Business, your reviews, and your website, putting everything together, and it knows exactly what you do, who you are, where you're located. Then everything starts working together. You just create a whole ecosystem around making noise around what you do, your brand, and everything like that. So that's why adding a keyword to the reviews, or trying to get keywords in the reviews, is extremely important to kind of get, basically add more gas to the fire. And that's basically, I'm going to go ahead and stop there. That was a lot around Google My Business, how important it is, how to optimize it. And now we're going to move towards a Q&A here on what you guys thought, and if you have any more questions around that.
No question.
You can go ahead and unmute. Go ahead, Stephen.
One of the things with the GMB is that in order to leave a review, and the same thing's true with Facebook, they have to have a Google account or a Facebook account. What do you do to reduce the friction there? Because I know a lot of people don't have a Google account.
Yeah, unfortunately, they have to, to your point, they have to have a Google account. At this point, there's really not a lot you can do, right? Because they need one. So when you email somebody, there isn't a lot, because they have to have a Gmail. Basically, the reason we don't even look at that, because right now it's kind of like Facebook. You actually assume everybody has a Facebook. So in this case, you're asking for a review. You're going to assume that someone has some kind of Gmail. If they get hit with not having it, they'll probably respond back to you, and you'll have to guide them through that. Hey, if you have a Gmail, a free, a personal Gmail, Just log into that and you'll be able to then click on the link and you'll be able to leave me a review. There's no way around it right now.
Okay.
It has to be a Gmail.
Okay, yeah, because one of the things I was toying with is, when we send out the message saying, hey, please leave us a review about X, you can do that either on Facebook with this link, click here to do that, or Google, click here to do that. I just didn't know if you had some trick around the getting around the account. So thank you.
There's not, but I love what you just said there. Take this as a takeaway. This is actually really good, Stephen. Giving people options on where to leave you a review. I know the Google My Business is extremely important because it's a Google asset, but let's pretend that that person doesn't have a Gmail, right? Kind of like what Stephen said. It's actually really good if they leave you something on Facebook, Yelp, any other review platform. So don't leave it as a loss. Actually try, if they can't leave you one on Google, it's like, hey, don't worry about it. Here's my link to leave me a review on Facebook if you have a Facebook page or whatnot. Now you can go a little further, kind of what Stephen does, gives them options, right? Stephen, that's basically what sounds like you're doing. You literally give them, hey, if you have a Gmail, click here. If you have Facebook, click here. Doesn't matter, just leave us a review somewhere. That's fine. Any other questions, guys?
So
No other
Roger, sorry.
Go ahead.
I remember why I opened Google My Business. It was because the first time I did it with my personal Gmail account, and then I couldn't figure out how to switch that. And so that's why Israel opened it with his iCanDev email account.
Got it. All right. So now you kind of know which one to delete then, right? That we can look into deleting, which is the one, sounds like the one that you set up with your personal email.
But then, yes, but then the personal email has my favorite name, which is just iCanDeveloper. And then the other one has iCanDeveloper LLC. Can I switch the name?
You can, but you're going to probably have to go through the process of deleting that one you don't want, right?
Okay.
And that's going to take probably a month or so for it to kind of go away, because it needs to go through the process of getting approved to get deleted. That they make it hard. But once that's gone, then I would recommend making some edits to the one that's left. And I know that's the one that you want to make to the name. Correct.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, but I wouldn't move too much right now. It's like, it would be more deleting that profile. Do not make any major edits to your current one, the one you want live, right? Besides adding value. But as far as like changing the business name, don't do that, because you don't want the same. If it does look at, very similar business names and starts looking spammy, then they might shut you down, and we don't want that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anybody else? Good. Just in case I'm missing something, since we have here, it might give value to everybody here. Sophia, was there anything specific on yours? I know you started yours. So just since we have the group here, maybe there's something that you can share here, why you stopped the process, or maybe you didn't, right? Maybe we didn't finish the conversation, but what was the challenge? Why wasn't that process finished?
Mainly for the address. I know that it's important. I just didn't feel comfortable with putting my home address just yet. And so I just have to research, what areas around me or what buildings around me that can rent out a suite. That really, everything else I was, I filled out.
Awesome. Yeah. Did you go as far? So I'm assuming you didn't get it verified because you haven't put in any address in there. So
no, wait, I put in where it says that, where it says there's a portion of it that says that this is not public. That's where I put my address, and that's how they were able to verify, because I did get the thing in the mail with the code, so they can verify the business.
Awesome. So your Google My Business is verified, just doesn't have a public address. Is that where you're at?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, you're good. All right. So you basically did everything. Now it's just kind of going through, rewatching this video, right? Making sure that you filled out everything that we mentioned here, and you're good. You're solid. You're actually in a perfect place. All right, cool. And we are good. Any other questions, guys?
I'm in the same boat. I'm waiting for my verification card to show up.
Awesome, Sal. So now you have a little more to, once you verify that account, because what happens, guys, when you get verified, they add a couple more tools, just, more fields you can fill out that talk about your business. And obviously you get that big check, that you check that box that you are real. So Google now knows that you're real. So yeah, Sal, that's great. Hopefully some of these items will help you out as far as like finishing up optimizing the Google My Business. And then we have Tony. You raise your hand there.
Yeah, on the address. Okay, if you're trying to build I know this is a little off. You're trying to build credit for your business, say with Dun & Bradstreet or something like that. You're supposed to have a physical address in one of your phone book listings, like on the yellow pages or the white pages, whatever it is.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
why not do
No,
it?
I guess that's a tricky one, right? Because I would say put it on your Google My Business. Because if you're gonna put it online, then I'm like, well, just go for the big one, right? But if you're still, concerned and they're requiring that, and you're just not comfortable with the Google My Business, then maybe you put it on a less popular one, right? And this is just, I don't know if this is correct in the direction, but say you just need it out there, but you don't want it on the one that we're going to focus on people actually driving traffic to, right? That come to it. You just want it hidden somewhere on the internet. Then I would do a little bit of research. I can recommend a couple, right? It's like that, probably, it's going to be kind of hard to find, I guess. Either do a local search for directories just in general in your local area. There might be little tiny websites that allow you to put your profile up there, which includes the address. Or you can do a little bigger one, like manta.com is pretty popular. I mean, if you're comfortable with something like Yellow Pages, that might be brownbook.com is another one that's kind of lower level kind of directory. But those are the ones we create for our clients anyway, because it's a mention on the internet, but they don't get a lot of traction, right? They don't get, they're not the number one, links ranking on Google and all that, but it is a mention. And for you, for your credit, at least you have it out there and now you know where it's at and you can share that with the credit people. And hopefully that works out. But yeah, there is a way, if that's what you're looking for the rest of you guys, just hiding it, look for a low level directory, put your information there and that's where it'll live.
So Sophia, I don't know, I'm sorry if I missed this piece. We actually have a UPS store account, but we label it as Suite. And so we got verified using our UPS store address. So that may be something to look into too.
Nice, thank you.
We tried
Yeah.
that and they didn't accept ours doing it that way. So it's hit or miss, like Roger
Yep.
said.
Exactly. Yeah, we have one of our dominator level clients. That's what we did. We tried it and it went through. That's why I'm like, I wasn't expecting it to go through, but we got lucky. Same like Steven. But in most cases, every time we're like, do it, it doesn't work. It's when you don't tell anybody. You do it secret, it goes through for whatever reason. But yeah, it's one of those hit or miss. All right, guys. Any other questions? Nope. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and end the recording